I can get distracted by music, definitely. I can get distracted by art. I can get distracted by comedy. I can get distracted by, mm, yeah, by a few things. But I definitely want to have a good conversation. Now, let me just make sure I've sent it where I wanted to send it. Mm, so, oh God, I thought let me jump on the live because I am wide awake. I think it's my perimenopause or just answered prayer as well. So it's coming up to 5 a.m. Our body clock is our body clock, and although it's dark in London, I'd love to show you outside. Eventually I will. We'll do some walking and talking. Because it's good to walk. It's good for your health. Um, and it's warm out there at the minute. It's not so cold. And eventually I will be going to the gym this early because I need to train, get back into my training. But this this rant isn't about me. There's a few things I will bring myself into it, but there's a few things that I thought let me just go live, and I do intend for this to stay on it, and I am gonna talk for long. I have to rant because I've got a few questions as well, and hopefully this reminds me to ask these particular questions. Um, Maybe I should do a poll. There's a question, and you do not even have to answer it in real time, but you can, if you know me, you can just talk to me directly when you're ready. Just voice note me or send me a text, whatever. If you want to call me, call me if you got my number. If you haven't and you still want to talk, then we can use these channels. That's fine. And if you want to hate and if you want to be a crazy one, can be crazy. There's a lot. I do notice that there's a lot of crazy people on TikTok. So there's 25 people watching now. I don't know if I know you. You probably don't even know me. But if you want to subscribe, subscribe. And if you want to stay connected, stay connected. But for us in the UK, did you vote? Especially if you live in London, did you vote? And if you didn't, let's start having a healthy conversation. I know we say all of them are the same when it comes to politics and governing bodies. I do get that. I understand that. But we do need to have a conversation about listening and the safe spaces of speaking up of what we need and what we want. So yeah, I think I can leave it there and ask you. And if you did vote, the question is, who was at the polling stations? What did they ask you when they came? Oh my God, who was managing your polling stations? Did you notice who was actually voting? Did you actually notice what was going on? When for the first, listen, I went there twice. I went there twice. I went there straight afterward because I nearly forgot. This is one of those things that is so easy to forget. Like I said, being distracted. But thank God they actually held it up to 10 o'clock. That's been over the years they've been giving us space, and you can even do it by post now. I noticed they say you mustn't have cameras. I did take my phone out because I thought I must remind my neighbours to vote, because when I went to the when I went and they were looking at the paper, when I told them where I live, it's like, hold on, they've never been to this page. Because they have to cross it off which where you live. And I didn't see many people on my address crossed off. And then so what I started to think is, hold on a minute, how much of you are legit to vote? Jesus. This is where we don't want to chat certain people business and we don't want to bait people up. But what we, it's a sign of the times. It really is. There was a strange thing. I want to talk about. Okay, I want to talk about if you went to vote. I want to ask you, who did you notice was voting? I noticed there was a lot of black people, and there was quite a lot of people who were not. There was more when I went. There was a few white people because remember I went twice. I could have gone out there and stood up a bit more. There was a young person. I'm 50 next year, so I don't class myself as young at all. I saw someone, he might have been in his 30s or 20s, and he was just there talking out loud. He might have been talking on his phone because you've got the earpiece now. And he was like, "Oh, they're all the same. I can't even be bothered." Da, 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 da. And then he goes, "Can I use the toilet?" So I don't know what he was there for, and I don't know. And there was like some people standing outside at one point. Um, and the reason why I say that is because as soon as I went in on the bus, I was asked, "What have I come to vote?" So I wanted to see that message. Um, I was asked, "Have I come to vote?" And it would have been interesting if I said no. It would have been interesting what that conversation would have gone to. Like, okay, they only want people there to who's going to vote because they probably would have politely asked you to leave, but we never see security really. But I guess we don't need to come to those times where there needs to be security. Oh, thank you, Kai, to 1127, saying I look so beautiful. God bless you. I feel beautiful inside and out because beauty is another thing. I want to get into the conversation of the Met Gala. I want to get into the conversation of the Met Gala and this whole beauty of art and what is beautiful, what is art for all you art creatives, and all you people that appreciate art and appreciate fashion. Oh my gosh, I've got a few things that I want to rant about, but I can't even stay long because Adelaide, I have to go work. I have to work in the system. And I do like the system of the work that I do. I work for a charity. I work with people with drug and alcohol issues, people that are addicted. And yesterday I met a lady and she said that she has been in a domestic violence relationship for years and never had any help. And I'm concerned. She's on my mind because I'm like, you've never had any help. Okay, I'm hoping that you make sure you get access to help for that. Not that that's not our main thing, but it is an important thing that we are supporting with how we can support not just women, but also there are men out there that are victims of domestic violence, but they're very much hidden. So I don't want to go on to too many different subjects because my mind is a very great mind. Okay, another Anthony Ferguson saying beautiful black woman. Yes, respect you. Thank you. I love my beauty. I love who I am. And God bless your beauty as well. That you're even giving me a shout out. Thank you. Um, but yeah, that's the work I do. So I need to be alert for my work. I think also one of the reasons why I'm alert and up is because I suffer with fibroids, and they've been a bit flared. It's been every now and again in my prime now that I'm getting nearer to this menopause and perimenopause, wherever I am. I take my merengue, I take my herbs and that, and I'm much better than when I used to be because there would be times when I just conk out. Whoa. Obviously, you can be on the side of being slightly anemic. My melanin is strong, but the vibes have to be balanced. And I think part of me is awake and alert. You got light coming through. Is light coming through out there? Yeah. The light is reaching down here in South London. SW. I'll say SW4. It's near where I am, so it's 5 a.m. Hawaii. So basically, it's looking at, okay, Wandsworth, 34% Labour, 32% Conservative, 19% Green Party, 7% Reform in Wandsworth. That's near where I live. I'll just give a clue for those who are Londoners. But let's come back because I like to touch many subjects. I like to chat. And I asked the question, did you vote? If you didn't vote, can we get into a conversation about voting? If you did vote, who did you see? Because I am interested about what's going on. Because it'd be interesting to see where these reform votes really came from. Like I said, as soon as I noticed that my residency didn't vote, because I saw a lot of names weren't crossed off, I took out my phone and I was texting to say, please vote, don't forget to vote. And it'd be interesting to see what came back. If it was silence. And like I said, it might be that people don't. Okay, I got 6 hearts. In my neighbourhood, my little neighbourhood group, WhatsApp chat. And then I did say it'd be interesting how many people where I live actually haven't got the right to vote. And then look, they've made it easier. You can vote up to 10 o'clock, or you can do it by post. And I must say as well, this is the first time that they actually asked me for my passport to vote. I noticed there was a lot of foreigners in there. I noticed there was a few foreigners in there, and obviously they probably got their right to vote. There was, and not just foreigners. There was quite a lot of immigrants, people that aren't. I saw a lot of black people, people that aren't. Have you got? We got our right to vote. So obviously, some of us are born here. Some of us have obviously applied to have our citizenship here. But even those that were white, they didn't look like they were English. And there was one guy that was holding up the when I went the second time, holding up the queue, because he was, I don't know what he was doing, but he was almost like, for me it was like, you know when you're in the post office and then you start looking at the person. What is the person in front of you doing, the person at the counter? Because sometimes it looks like it's taking long. Two people were addressing this one person who looked like a foreigner. God knows where he's from. I'm just going to call out any country. It wasn't Brazil, but it just seemed like, and it was interesting to think, okay, you're voting, or you're doing something, or are you applying to vote, or something? Because the way they were looking at two people on one person for this one, assisting this one person, and he's folding up his envelope, and I'm thinking, oh God, now I am here waiting. And it was just, and again, it was black people. I think it was African people running our voting polling in southwest London, where I was. Now, when I walked past another southwest polling, it looked like there was more white people in that constituency. That's why, for me, I am a bit nosy. I'm observant. I was looking like, yeah, because different residency locations are appointed to different places. And I wonder what Merton and Westminster. But I just want to encourage people to be interested in what's going on. I've been interested in politics since I saw Obama. I was like, wow, black man. in for president. It was a great era because you knew there would have to be change. So we're in 2026 now, right? And let's just double check what year did Obama what year did Obama get into become prime minister, become president in America? So let's have a good conversation about this. He became president of the United States in 2009. So nearly 20 years later. So we could say that nearly 20 years later. Yeah. And so Obama was 2029 and he served 2 terms until 2017. Yeah. When did President Trump become become president? Quick question. Because I want you to look at the so Trump was straight after, and that was because America was angry, and the world was quite the world became a little bit tipped up from then, um, and even before then. And this is why we need to be in the conversation. Sometimes I listen to the conversations and I think, when I hear conversations politics, sometimes I listen and then I just come out. For me, it's hard to follow because some people are chatting crap. Some people, they're throwing a lot of stones and hiding their hands. They're not really saying what they want to say. So when someone like Trump came and was really saying what he wanted to say, as crazy as what he says, thank God he's saying it out loud. Um, and it's had its pros and its cons because obviously we've seen a lot more. You can't deny what you've seen. We do need to have these conversations, and that's why I don't talk politics at work. I actually don't. It'd be interesting what Bexley. Where's Bexley again? I haven't heard of Bexley for a while. I've heard of Bexley Heath. I hear of Beckenham because I've been Beckenham a few times recently. But yeah. Oh God, I need to. No, I feel like I need a nap. 20 minutes in, and what have I really said? It's just been interesting. I think we need to look. We need to look. We need to observe, have conversations. And when you're having conversations, don't shut people down. Try and be in the space to listen. Listen. Try and listen. Get your listening skills on, man. Because when COVID happened, shall we look at the year COVID happened? COVID happened around 2020 to 2021, that whole lockdown. And people were having conversations about vaccinations, and that really caused a lot of split for people. People were having jokes, but Richmond on Thames, Liberal Democrats have got 54 seats. Why does it say this? Politics will distract me, honestly, it will. But I think I am getting into it. I am listening. I'm trying to listen. Trying to listen from different perspectives because there is a lot going on when it comes to politics and politricks. But I will not. I'm tired. I'm a little tired. But let me just come back to what I was saying. Take whether that, you know what, that person that I said was holding up the queue. wherever they're from, thank God they wanted to vote. I don't think they were born in England. I don't think they could talk English. I don't think English was their first language, and I don't business. At least they wanted to vote. At least they care. At least people are caring to like, come on, we need to, because you've had Brexit. You've got all of the. You've got to start listening and start listening, even if you don't want to say nothing or you're scared of what you're going to say. Hammersmith and Fulham is 37 seats for Labour. I think. Hold on, let's see, because that's saying they're trying to look at the differences between 2022. I'm looking at BBC at the minute. So they're saying 38% Labour, 24% Conservative. So Hammersmith and Fulham went up 10% with Reform and down 16% with Labour, and up 14% for the Green Party. The thing, and when you look at these boroughs now, because these are London boroughs, there's 32 boroughs. Because imagine, it's interesting because someone was asking me this week from the criminal justice team. They kept on asking how many boroughs are in London. 32 boroughs. You can include 33 if you include the City of London. And the City of London is a whole different ball game because that's where a lot of banking is done. And I don't know who. It'd be interesting about the residency makeup of the City of London, if they, because it's a majority of banking that goes on there. There shouldn't be much listed residents in City of London. But I must look it up. I can look it up now, but I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because City of London opens up a lot. But when you're looking at different boroughs, it's good to look at the makeup of demographics of the boroughs. It'd be interesting what Merton and Surrey, what their boroughs. Bexley. I need to look and look where Bexley is. I could look at it now, but it will start taking me down another road. Demographics are important because what I'll say for a side note is when it comes to immigration and when it comes to people settling from different countries in England and especially in London. I'm not too sure how it is out of London, but I am interested because there was an incident. Oh God, I want to try and keep my facts as well. Let me try and keep my facts because I don't want to be the wrong messenger. There was an incident when there was a hotel that had residents, immigrants, and one of the immigrants allegedly was getting intimate and had approached a young girl. I believe it was a young white girl. And the residents in that area protested that the hotel shouldn't be used for immigrants. Which area was that? So let me ask this because it was on the news, the local news. They say it. Oh God, that one's disappeared. Oh, it's disappeared again. It came up, and then it said this content might violate terms of use. But it said it might be Epping. Hi Minecraft. He said, "What's up, Auntie? I'm good. I don't know who you are, but I'm just ranting a little bit. Not ranting. I'm interested in politics. That's what's up. And it might be Epping because there was a hotel resident. Yeah, asylum seekers. They were in a hotel, and the point I was making around that Newcastle under Lyme, they've gone up with reform 12. Okay, and down Labour. Okay. The reason why I wanted to talk about demographics in different areas, I just wanted to touch on it. Yeah, I'm British. Yeah. My parents are from Jamaica. Yeah, where are you based? I've got a lot to say. I don't talk much, but I'm gonna use this channel every now and again because it's coming up to 5:17 a.m. It's a nice. I'm in London. It's nice. It's nice. The weather's a bit nice. Um, it gets breezy. The sun doesn't stay out long. Comes and it goes. You should see us. When the sun comes out, people just put on their shorts. Sometimes the sun doesn't even stay out long at all. He said, "You're unique, just an African American." Okay. I'm based in London. Yeah. I think it's important that we put London on the map and we talk about politics and politics. Um, one of my favorite commentators here on on I have some commentators that I like to watch. One called Funky Dineva, but my first one is Funky Dineva is currently on a cruise, and my first one is Lovely Tea. Um, Tea sipper. I am a tea sipper. She Lovely Tea is based in, I was gonna say Michigan, but I lie. It begins with M. Minnesota, Minneapolis, however you pronounce it. St. Paul's. She's taking a bit of time out because she's getting her healing. But I shout out to her because I want to be part of her Discord, but it's hard to be part of it. So Minecraft said, I'm too young to understand politics. Just stay independent. But what's up? What's going on in London? You'll have to check out every now and again, subscribe, and I'll show you what's going on in London because I love looking at buildings. You could come and travel over and check out. We got McDonald's. Oh God, I need to stay serious. I love comedy. I love laughing. But if you're too young, how old are you? 20 or in your teens? Um, if you're too young to understand politics, then that's where you are right now. But you got to remember that it impacts your life. And that's why people are voting. That's why people have voted for Trump. And I want to talk about Trump because I don't like him. I'm concerned, and he's definitely made me. I wouldn't say made me reconsider my beliefs. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe God is in control. But I think there's something around my belief in people. But then there's pros and cons. I'm glad that he came into presidency. Part of me is because, especially where he came from, people laughed at him. But he there's so much I can say about him. But I also want to be safe for my own safety. But I think every now and again I'm going to touch on him. That's why I wanted to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. And oh God, there's so many subjects. I'm going to have to round it down. But coming back to London, what's happening here is reform, which give me Trump vibes. Have taken more seats in politics, in government. and it's going to definitely bring up certain conversations, and I'm just asking people to listen to the conversations, listen to different conversations. I know some of us can be ignorant and we don't want to hear. Some of us are overwhelmed. Some of us are just about paying our bills. And to be honest, I'm going to say some of us are racist. Some of us are very racist. Some of us are very homophobic. Um, some of us are very. I want to be honest. Some of us are very much full of shit, and we only want to connect with people who look like us. We're scared. I'll talk for myself as well. We're scared of accepting people that are different. We're too concerned with what the LGBTQ community are doing. Some of us as Christians are too concerned with homosexuality, and yeah, there's a lot of conversation around it, biblically and as a topics, because the LGBTQ community, they're here to stay, and it's going to be it's always going to be a sensitive conversation, because one thing that I am aware of is that the Bible says the rain and the sun will be on the just and the unjust. And when it comes to justice, and when it comes to life and people having the right to breathe, all of us have the right to breathe. So my views will not be agreed with. People, where I come from, my culture, Caribbean, people will have some words to describe, and there's music as well. My parents are from Jamaica, that talk about people from the LGBTQ community in certain ways that is not uplifting. Let me say that for true. And but I think we need to not be too consumed and worried about what people are doing in their lifestyle and what people are doing with their sexuality. That was one way how Trump managed to get into the seat where he is, because he used a lot of homophobia. He also used racism, immigration, and it's what is really our problem in the world. That's what I'm kind of glad Trump has got in there, because I think America, some of you are waking up. Some of you are waking up. And some of you are having the conversations that need to be had. And there's a lot more conversations that need to be had. There's a lot more. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to that part. I'm going to leave it there, and I am also going to segue, but I also am going to touch on it, because like I said, who's voting? What did you see when you voted? Yeah. And also money talks, money walks. This whole thing with the war, when the person Minecraft said they're too young to understand politics, you do understand death. You do understand that people, I was going to say, you understand that people are losing their lives unjustly, the whole thing with Israel, Palestine, Middle East. We do need to. You do need to. You might feel you're too young, but you that this is the greatest time for you to start having a look, especially if you get to an age where they ask you, demand you to draft you in America to go and fight their wars. Um, these are serious times. These are serious times. And we have to start talking and listening and thinking. And if you believe in a higher entity, and if you don't, and if you're searching, now is the time. I believe in Christ. I believe Jesus Christ came and died for us and bled and shed his blood. That is very controversial. I believe he died and he rose and he's coming back. But then my beliefs, I feel that my beliefs are being questioned. I'm even questioning. And I believe God is real, but I do question the Bible. I think you need to question it. I think we need to question the Bible. So as much as I believe and trust in God, I also believe that there are a lot of hypocrites in the church. I am very mindful of church. I'm very mindful of every religion. I think it's important that you have your own relationship with God and you talk to God and you have and you look out for God answering you, and that you take a chance on Christ to just talk, because I do believe the Holy Ghost is real, and that you have your own relationship. I believe that it's important to have your own relationship and to go to a church where you're drawn to go to, because worship is important, to learn how to worship and to pray. But for me, that's a whole different conversation, because it depends who I'm speaking to. See, it's about knowing your audience as well. Like, woo! I don't know who I'm talking to. Like, where are you in your walk? Where are you in your talk? Where are you in your thoughts? Because we're also, they highlight May as Mental Health Awareness Month. And mental health is a definite conversation to be highlighted and to be discussed. Because, so I moved on from Christianity, moved on from politics, moved on from Christianity and beliefs into mental health. Because for those who don't know what I do, I work with people with drug and alcohol issues. And I also love singing. I'm an artist. I'm very creative. That's why I want to talk a bit about the Met Gala, and I want to ask a few questions about the Met Gala. So this conversation is quite long. Not everybody's going to listen to it. A tip is tip is if you know how to speed up, then speed up, so that you can hear me faster, because I'm thinking my thoughts. I'm just thinking out, and I haven't got many people to talk to right now. So I'm just thinking my thoughts, and it'd be good for you to listen while you're doing something, maybe the dishes while you're tidying up or something, and then come back and talk with me. Make a comment, or if you've got my number, just come, let's talk. Because Babylon, I call the government system, and the systems behind the government systems Babylon. And mental health is a serious thing. It's an extremely serious thing. I don't even want to go and talk about it too much right now, because there's too much. I didn't even put that down for me to be. I didn't even put that down as a note of discussion. But the reason why I'm highlighting it, coming off the conversation of LGBTQ, racism, Christianity, religion, is because some people are not well. And with the support that I do with drug and alcohol, I've been doing it for over 26 years. And I started off on the front line as an administrator. And now I'm a team lead. And I like what I do, building recovery in the community. I like it. Um, I respect due to all of those on the front line who are key workers and support people, because I can talk about this for years. I'll have to come back onto this subject for a minute, but respect due because they're like social workers, and that's why I have to big up social workers as well, because anybody who works in healthcare, any nurse who works on the front line in the NHS, because this is when I spoke about politics, this is all linked into it. Healthcare, politics, that's all linked into this conversation. And these type of conversations that we need to have, that I'm willing to have. And that's why I also big shout out to Real Woman, to Angel Lou, who does her talks on Saturday mornings. I like listening to her and tuning in whenever I can. She's based in London, because she touches on all different subjects as well. Oh my God, I'm so tired. And I have to go to work. What I can say about mental health is, if you know that you suffer from high anxiety, depression, paranoia, then try and get some help. Start Googling, talk, find safe spaces to talk. Look after your well-being. Another subject I want to link on that's slightly close to it is neurodiversity. I'm not saying that anybody who is dyslexic or has autism or ADHD has a mental health issue. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying is, some people don't know where they are on the spectrum. I think we all are on the spectrum somewhere. And I think learning difficulties, whatever you want to call it, learning barriers, I think a lot of people haven't been diagnosed, especially in their latter years. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. Having an addiction is nothing to be ashamed of, whether it's gambling, whether it's sex, whether it's pornography, whether it's drinking, whether it's alcohol. Everybody has some kind of vice or something. There's some kind of demon trying to hold on to certain people in certain spaces. So Labour is still in Merton. Labour is still in Reading. Portsmouth is Liberal Democrats. When it says hung, I need to remember what that means. Tameside. Where is Tameside? Brentwood. Where is Brentwood again? See, politics is definitely going to distract me. I think it's a healthy distraction. Some of you ain't gonna even business, but we need to start businessing. We need to start being in the business of politics. We need to be listening, and we need to stop cussing each other and disrespecting each other and dismissing each other when people are talking about. We need to try and listen. If you don't want to listen, even listen to a little bit and try and be respectful. Because and if you're talking, try and be bold in what you believe and be prepared to be challenged, to hear a different point of view. But yeah, having being on the spectrum of a neurodiversity, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. What I do want to say though is, and also loss of hearing, loss of sight. Everybody's dealing with certain disabilities with their well-being. I'm calling it disabilities or different pain. Or get yourself checked out, man, with your mental health, your well-being, your body. Get yourself checked out. Don't leave it for too long. Diabetes. Look after yourself, man. But especially about the spectrum, I think all of us need to start being tested of where we are with our neurodiversity. Eventually, they probably will do some general. They probably already are every time they do the stats and testing you, testing people at school. They probably are testing you. They're testing your IQ. How some of you guys with autism, your IQ is very high. Um, your memory, photographic memory, you're very good at learning. But some of you, you, the reason why I brought it up straight after the mental health is because when we're not understood, we get frustrated. And especially when you're in workplaces or you're with your family dynamics, you'll get frustrated. And communication can break down, and not just frustrated, you'll get offended. And when people are offended, it brings up barriers. It brings up barriers. It brings up barriers where we can't trust each other. And you can end up trusting strangers more than you trust your own family. And that's the life. This is the world we're living in right now, where families are not getting on with each other. Some families are close, some families aren't. Families have offended each other. People are, so this is the world we're living in. And what it can lead on is to isolation. And when we're isolated, sometimes we can get into unhealthy social dynamics, and there's not good boundaries. And that's where where the word terminology vulnerability is used. And certain people will prey on vulnerabilities, and certain people will become victims of vulnerabilities because of the vulnerabilities, or people will become codependent. There's some key words I'm using where people become reliant on others. People become there's so many dynamics I can talk about. People become, I was going to use the word dysfunction, and I know I'm not the greatest messenger. I'm not. That's why I like conversations, and they need to be timely. Because this week I had a conversation around attachments. Because you can have the attachment styles. Check it out yourself. People can have unhealthy attachments, but I also learned it's important for people to form healthy attachments as well. And that was a new perspective for me. And you should look it up yourself. It's about your formative years. As a young child, that's where you build your attachments. And if your attachments are unhealthy, you can become quite dysfunctional as an adult. And I've done a bit of work with families around dysfunctions, and I don't want to go into it right now, but it is heartbreaking when you have someone very close to you seeming like they're exploding and dysfunctioning, and you can't support them and support them the way you want to support them because of the dynamics of maybe embarrassment, pain, shame, and also the fear of being threatened, and also the violence. There's some families that there are violence. There's some families where there is I was going to say stealing, and I tell you, to be around someone that steals is must be very unsettling. I have not. I've been around people that steal, and I will admit I've stolen as well in my lifetime, but I've also been selective in when I was younger in how I stole, and I've also had to come to terms that that's not the lifestyle that I wanted to 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 keep, because it doesn't sit well with my integrity to take something that's not mine. But then that's always going to be questionable, because we're in a world now where you have to lock up your bikes, you have to close your doors. And apparently in the 60s or early 70s, in England, London, there was a time where you could keep your doors open and you didn't have to lock your bikes. So we also have to look at the generational fear, not just as a society, but also internally as families, where, so like I said, I come back to where I said I work with people with drug and alcohol, where drugs and alcohol has had a big impact on how people function. And if you suffer from mental health and and you've got a neurodiversity, and you add drugs and alcohol on top of it, whether they're prescribed drugs or illegal drugs, there's another chaos. And there's a lot of people who make money from drugs, whether it's illegal or legal, and there is a lot of crime linked to it. So I'm crossing over into different points, but who I don't know who my audience is. So like I said, at some point I might need to just make this unlimited, where only certain people can access this, because like I said, I want to have a conversation, and I actually am trying to find out who my audience is, because we're in a serious time. And there's a song that I like called "What a Piece of Something," yeah, when the 2-7 clash. Why? When the 2-7 clash. Alright, let me segue into another conversation quickly, because I can chat, man. I can chat. Reggae music. That song that I just sang was a reggae song. And reggae music has had such a fight. The Rastafarian community has had such a fight. So big up to the Marley community. Big up to Ziggy Marley with your new album, and you're talking about your father. You know what I mean? I think I need to listen to it. You know what? I don't listen to the Marleys enough. And they're deep. And I respect you to that legacy. And there was something Ziggy Marley said in a clip. He said that his dad had a lot of emotion that he was dealing with. Southampton, Reform 25%, Labour 21% in Southampton, and Green Party 20%. That's sometimes it's not bad if it's not about who is on top. Sometimes it's about where your voice is. How loud is your voice? What are you saying with your voice, with your seat? I can see myself getting into politics at some time. I was telling my cousin that one day I'll be the mayor of London, but maybe I'll just be the mayor in my community. I don't know, but the mayor isn't really political though. I don't even know who's the mayor in our. But anyway, big up to some of those young mayors as well coming up in different boroughs. You see how I can go off politics. Right, Bob Marley reggae music. It is political. Because if you listen to the Rasta community, they've always listened. They've always they always have been a bit ahead of their time. So they don't underestimate the Rastafarian community when they talk up, because they will talk up, talk deep, and you have to hear what they overstand and that what the I and I is saying, right? Rasta music, reggae music is a vibe, yeah. And I want to talk a bit more political about reggae music because it does get a fight. So that rhythm, that W, whatever it's called. All I saw is the letters FL. Right. Big up, because there's an interview now out with the producer, and I want to hear what he's saying, because well done to him and well done to how he's got that out, and well done because that's been a strategic. That is blowing up. It's blowing up. And big up to him. And he's been strategic with it, and he's talking about how he had to come out of Jamaica and go to Toronto to look at, yeah. So good for him, you understand, and good for the movement with reggae, because reggae does get a fight. That's all I'm saying. And I think and I want to say more about it, but like I said, I might not be the right messenger. But big up to the reggae artist then. Alright, I'm going to move on because I'm talking about art. Tired. I'm getting tired. And I do have to work. And I might see if I can get a little nap as it comes up to 6. And I was thinking about doing a walk anyway. But now my body's feeling a bit beaten because of what I'm dealing with. The fibroids, boy. And I did, so the Met Gala. Let's talk about the Met Gala. Because fashion, art. Someone tell me, what is the Met Gala about? Because I don't really understand it, this whole art theme. And because sometimes when I look at them, I'm thinking they look crazy. But then sometimes when I look at them, I go, oh, that looks nice. I like the sculpture of it. I used to go out. My son's dad used to do sculpturing. He used to do, and I used to think that's so daft. I did. I disrespected him in his face, man. I was like, what is this about? I didn't support him at the time. And, but you know what? I wish I did. Oh, God, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. The tiredness is licking me. This is how it is with fibroids every now and again. So I'm going to take some Globin. I want to take some merengue, but the merengue will wash me out. And this isn't a good time for me to wash out right now because I've got to go to work. So I'll take it later. Really, I need to go in the kitchen and cook some greens and mushroom. Yeah, cook a little bit of meat. Let me put the meat on from now. And it might be ready for when I need to go out and have it for lunch. Because, yeah, I need to just work my strength. But, yeah, someone tell me what the Met Gala is about. How political is it? What's going on? This lady called Anna Wintour, she used to be the editor of Vogue. Now she's... And then Beyonce is part of the Kardashians. Apparently Kardashians were vexed that their North Star couldn't be on the... They're vexed that North was on... North couldn't come to Met. But Blue, Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter went to the Met. But Jay-Z as well. I'm really giving him the side eye, you know, really. Like I touched on the subject of drugs, I've always given him a side eye because he used to sell drugs. Then he went into rapping. Now he's gone into sports. He does the NFL, the Super Bowl. He's into sports. It is quite political. It is quite political, and I do wanna watch what's going on because people are saying that Beyonce's really broke, and that's why she has to work so hard. And I love it that I know Beyonce from Destiny's Child, so I like how she's, I like her work ethic. I like there's things that I like about Beyonce. Some people don't because they say she's in witchcraft. They say her sister's doing witchcraft. I say, Lord God, I want to talk a bit more about that, but someone tell me what the Met Gala is really about. What is the political thing about Met Gala? Because last year I've seen more black people on the Met doing the Met Gala involved in it. And I know I like dressing up. I ain't gonna lie, I like dressing up, but sometimes when I see what they're wearing, I'm like, Lord God, I walk on you so. Some of them look like doppies, so I want to know what's... Apparently the theme was you take the portrait and you be the portrait, and there's some good history of learning that I like, but one thing I'm aware of is art and fashion can also be distracting, and so can music and politics and gossip be distracting. So it's nice that they're doing their thing. It's nice that fashion. I personally never used to be into fashion because my mum was always about don't follow fashion. Because fashion is political as well. That whole Nike. When I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, people were stabbing up people for their Nike trainers. It was stupid. It was horrible. So of course I didn't want to be too much about fashion there. Kickers, it was expensive at the time as well. I didn't want to keep following it, keeping up with the Joneses. There was this thing called Chippy, there was this thing called Naf Naf, all these name brands, and it's almost like the name brands validated you when you were going to school. And thank God that I had to wear school uniform, but when we had own clothes day, I think sometimes I was even borrowing clothes so that I could fit in. That's why now I just about having my own identity, because it's not about trying to fit in. My God, I could tell you stories about that. I'm so tired. Like that story when we went to Eternal Music Management. Eternal's music management was also the same as Michelle Gale's music management. Michelle Gale used to do acting in a thing called EastEnders, and then she went on to sing a song called, was it Sweet? Can't remember. And when we went to their office, the music management, and I rolled up my skirt because I wanted to just look like, I wanted to fit in. I was like, I want them to notice me, these managers to notice me. And my friend Michelle looked at me. She's American, and she was like, I think Michelle American, and Michelle was like, why are you rolling up your skirt? It doesn't look good. Really, Michelle was probably saying, don't look like that. Don't look like an idiot like that with me. I'm bringing you here. That's probably really what she wanted to say. But I got her clear, communication clear. It doesn't look good. You don't need to try to fit in. Just be yourself. And I can't remember what happened after that. She would have to remind me because I get blanks. I get blanks, man. And I took too much cannabis when I went to school. And my brain is trying to still heal of my memory. So I get blanks. I'll ask her though does she remember that time? But yeah. So moving on, so we've touched on a few subjects, but the Met Gala, moving on from fashion, I wanna talk about Chris Brown. Very talented young guy. And big up to Chris Brown because he's gonna have Vibes Cartel and all these different artists on his. Chris Brown is like the underdog. He's like the lead underdog. And he is talented, but when he licked up that girl Rihanna, I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh. I know I could get cancelled. I could get so cancelled for laughing. But the reason why I'm laughing, if you want to get the context of why I'm laughing, it's a big subject. It's a big subject because these are the kind of things I really would want to talk about because he's never recovered from that, and also he is problematic. He is problematic, but the talent is undeniable. Um, Reform have done very well. I definitely need to listen more to what Reform are about. Definitely. Because it is questionable and it is concerning, especially now that we've had the Trump era, Reform era is just, it is questionably interesting. It's interesting times. It's time to hear what Reform is saying, and it's time to hear what government, all the political parties are really saying, and what are people really saying, and who really voted for Reform. Where was the majority votes? Let's really have a look. Politics will distract me, man. That's why I'll put on my TV. I don't mind listening to politics. This is a good time to listen to the news and really hear what I want. Jesus Christ. And talk. I'm tired. But yeah, that Rihanna and Chris Brown, he's never been the same since that. His reputation has never been the same, and he is the lead of the underdogs. Very questionable, Chris Brown. But when he did that, when he done the tune Sensational with the Afro beats, you have to big him up for that. And I am interested to hear the tune he's done with Vibes Cartel, because Vibes Cartel as well, questionable character as well. But you can't deny. Cardi B, questionable character, but you can't deny. There's something going on, and politics again. I want to bring politics. That's why I've said, what is political about Met Gala? Someone tell me. The Chris Brown thing, the Rihanna thing. The reason why I laughed is because, oh my God, she's very questionable as well. Because I'm not gonna tell you all of that's what's in my head right now. Let me see who my audience is. See what you want to say. But when this week, TMZ, I don't know if do you all know who TMZ is? TMZ, media outlet, very 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 questionable. TMZ, you are very questionable. The way how someone got footage of Rihanna talking with ASAP Rocky in their car. TMZ, you're very shady. That was a very shady move where TMZ took a recording, and you could tell that they're in a relationship. You could tell that they were having a type of conversation. We don't know what the conversation is, but the way how it's been interpreted into the gossip is Starmer looks a bit unwell, boy, walking like that. He looks like me when I got period cramps. The way he's walking like that. I hope he's looking after himself. David Lammy, I do want to hear what you're saying, David Lammy. As a black man, I do want to hear what you're saying. I don't want to tune out. I need to start listening. But Jesus, oh my God. David Lammy's an MP, black MP. Politics will distract me. It will. What's this virus? Hantavirus breakout. And you got a cruise ship. A picture of a cruise ship in there. Oh, what else? Excuse my language. Apparently there is another virus breakout going on. Um, I don't know. I haven't been listening to the news. I am, but viruses have been breaking out for ages. The reason why COVID was able to break out the way it broke out is because a lot of people with COVID had passports. They were able to access different countries. Some viruses get to be contained. There's viruses all over the world, and some of them get to be contained, but some of them don't. And especially when you don't wash your hands and disinfect yourself, you don't forget to wash your hands. Don't forget to use disinfectant. But anyway, let me not get distracted because that's another political thing. All right. Come back, Adelaide. TMZ is very shady. They're very shady. Because you recorded a couple's conversation and then put the headline gossip that Rihanna and ASAP Rocky are in trouble. But when I looked at the footage, because I looked at it because I'm nosy as well, and the way how I saw Rihanna move, do you know what came to my mind? When her and Chris Brown had the fight. Because it was a fight. Rihanna obviously got the worst of it. It was nasty because the way she was beat up and the pictures that came out, it was nasty what Chris Brown did to her. It was a fight. I think people forget it was a fight. I don't know who threw the first punch. I can't remember. But Rihanna did also move on him as well. I think she may have moved on him first. It doesn't matter who. I think it was over cheating. I think she was upset with him. She was angry with him, and she hit him. And it doesn't matter who hit who first. Not at all. Like I said, there are dynamics in relationships. Fighting people who you say you love is an ultimate betrayal of harming people who you say you love. And when women hit men, it's very much overlooked. And you've got to also remember women are in relationships. And domestic violence in lesbian relationships is very much overlooked. And men are in relationships, and domestic violence is very much overlooked. And don't forget the trans community. Domestic violence is very much overlooked, and sometimes it's not seen as domestic because some of these people are not in official relationships. A lot of these people are in unofficial relationships, and that's why more protection needs to be highlighted for people, because they're in unofficial relationships and you're not being protected by the person you love, and you're not being protected by nobody, because nobody wants to be concerned. And a lot of these people are isolated in silence. And some of these people are the very vulnerable people that I was talking about, with the mental health, with the neurodiversities, disabilities. Some people are financially struggling, and they're victims as well. Of and subjected to other people's oppression. But I'm trying to find words. But like I said, I might not be the right messenger. But coming back to the Rihanna and ASAP Rocky, the way she moved, I thought she was going to hit him, but she was probably moving just to be comfortable, right? Like that, like just going like that. And he didn't flinch anyway. He didn't flinch. But it just made me realise, you know what, coming back to Chris Brown is a very questionable character. He him and Rihanna was a lovely couple when they were lovely, and they were the most toxic couple when it came to their relationship. And I'm glad that they were being able to talk about it, but it's unfortunate that Chris Brown is still very much cancelled because of it and because of his problematic ways. But I will not go on too much about that. And for those who don't know, I do sing. Many people ask me about what's going on with my singing. I do a few events, a few shows. So if you're interested to know which shows I'm doing, give me a shout. And I can send you the details or share you the details. Because I've got one in June. Not my own show, but it's a going out dress up thing in June, and I've got one in August going out dressing up brunch, and I also do the reggae hot steppers. That's a brunch. You can just come however you want to come. And I've got 2 albums. You can check out my album, Adelaide Mackenzie. And I love singing. I love making up songs. Sometimes I might come up on here and do a little song, depending on how I feel. Sometimes I don't like singing, but that's a whole different subject. But yeah, when I'm tapped in, it's a vibe. And I would like to do more creative things where people can come and create together. And I'd like to do some creative things online. And I'll show you. Every now and again I'll put it up as well. But you can also go to my official YouTube page, subscribe, do a like, do a nice comment on any of my music, and you'll see that's what I do. My work, where I'm going to get ready to go to 6 a.m. now. I'd like to get into more leadership roles. I just did a discussion around a mentoring, coaching program that I did, which was really cool. It was really good. The person who was mentoring me was a gay. Is well, you know what? Maybe this is the thing now. It's like, boy, talk out loud. They say that you're out in people. But no, it was good to discuss the perspective from LGBTQ community and the perspective as being a black woman in leadership. It was good to discuss perception. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that piece of work that I did and being able to advocate for it, because I think it's important that we address diversity, address different spaces of power, positions of power, positions of authority, directors and even chief executives were able to be in the world of recovery coordinators, people on the front line, and see what people are really dealing with, see the world from a different perspective, and have those conversations. And I think those conversations still need to be ongoing. So big up to the diversity team that supported that and matched that together. I know I wasn't the greatest candidate, because boy, I'm at work, I get things done, I'm busy, so I don't think I took as much advantage of it as I could. But you know what? I did well, and my team that I manage will do well if they take advantage of it. But I liked it how the person who I was paired up with was calm, because In the past, I had been afraid of white people. Let me talk for myself. I had been afraid of about white people, and I will actually share why I've been afraid of white people in the past. But I've done so much training and development now, and thank God I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, that I believe that it don't matter what color we are, we all bleed the same. I like that saying, but the point I'm making is race is important. Race is important, and conversations about race is important. And if you can be open, because I'm open and I'm direct, and I'm glad that the directorate who I was paired up with was able to take my directiveness and was able to reflect and was open to discovering, you know, and she gave me a space to share my experience and to share my inexperience, you know, because I was just, you know, I was on a platform with like 80 people, um, of all different positions from all over England, and I spoke and I shared about once upon a time I used to feel that I was stupid. I used to be afraid of people that weren't the same like me, but I've learned to be safe. And the connection that I had working with her, you know, she was able to show me how to just navigate a bit in these complex spaces, because every space where you are is political. Every dynamic, whether you're in retail, whether you're waiting in a queue at the bus, you'd be surprised how dynamics can change when you're around certain people, and what you can carry for the day if you have an interaction with someone, whether it's positive or not positive. Like when I came downstairs off the bus, yeah, the little one young guy, he ran him to the front and jumped off at the front. Now, me walking down the stairs, I think I walked down quick enough, yeah, the best way I could. I'm not as spritey as I used to, but the doors was already closed. So I rang it again. I goes, driver, please don't take me to the next bus stop. And the driver literally cussed me. I wouldn't even say the natty dread, because I'm a you not on a natty dread again. Just because you have the dread, it don't mean you're a natty dread, right? Which means you're not a rasta. The driver man cussed me. Goes, why you never come down quicker? One young guy, or whatever. I don't know who he was. He was black, like me, probably even blacker. But that don't mean that I'm racist. I'm just saying, rotted, you disrespect me. But I didn't hold it. But I wouldn't forget it. I won't forget it. And I don't know if I will see you again, because I didn't really eye you. I didn't really eye you, but I did clock that. And so when said that, when he goes, why you never come down quick, whatever. Right. That's how I'm talking to me. Even now, I feel the offence. I'm like, oh my God. Right. Black on black crime. Right. So I go, sir. That's not the key. But I felt in a good key, and I just sang loud and go, sorry. And then I go, your mama, papa, because I wanted to say your mother. But I knew, you don't know who might really know you. And I'm actually stepping off the bus to go to work. Do you know what I mean? And I've got my badge on for work as well. So I don't really want to come off the bus cussing. And I don't cuss out loud much. I do cuss though. I do. And I know certain people don't like cussing, especially as a Christian woman. They call me Christian. People say, she's a Christian woman, she's cussing. Yes, because before I was a Christian, I actually learned a few bad words. And every now and again, those bad words are still there. And they do get triggered and reunited. Reunited. That's not the right word, but it does get reunited with something, because better that I cussed a little bit than actually stopped to stay on the bus to have a little cussing match. because that wouldn't have gone down well at all, you know. So in these moments, at least I'm glad I'm not in that space where I used to be, because a angry black woman isn't a good space. And I've actually had to be vocal and say this to my colleagues, because someone pressed a button with me in a different position. Someone who's in a higher position than me is working with me, but they've rocked the boat a little bit. And great, they always rock the boat. That's what they're meant to do. But I also want to put my boundaries in place, like, now you rock the boat with me. Because when my spirit feels like something ain't right, it does, it does, it does reflect. It does reflect. It does reflect. And I'll say that it does reflect, because remember, I'm going to be 50 years old next year. So I've gone through the spaces of work where work can really burn you out, because if you really care about your job, or you care about supporting people, you will put 100% in it. Yeah. But then when you see people looking like they're taking liberties, you kind of need to know when to step back, because people will use you and take advantage. I'm just looking, Newcastle under Lyme. I can only see one black person. There's about 15 people on the camera. The black person's just sitting down with his Labour badge, the red Labour badge, and no one's chatting to him. He's on the phone doing texting. Everybody else is talking or looking at something. And I'm just like, just looking at the dynamics. Just don't have to read too much into it, because it's only a moment in time. But there's nothing wrong with saying what I actually see. And what I actually do experience is sometimes there's spaces where people are having a chat. Even with me, I know I need to start getting more into spaces of having a chat with my colleagues. But sometimes yeah, because yesterday I saw some of my colleagues having a chat, and I was like, I'm not in a space to be having a chat. Yesterday I was literally drained. I wouldn't say fighting for my life, but I was drained, a bit drained. And I've realised that. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I'll tell you more about that mentoring thing another time. Oh, I didn't touch on Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel. The reason why I wanted to touch on Jimmy Kimmel, right, is because Jimmy Kimmel, yeah, he's come on my radar. He is quite a questionable. He's a questionable character, yeah. Jimmy Kimmel, a comedian, he's come on my radar because he talks a lot of politics, and he's upset Trump, and I like him because he brings a lot of black artists that I like onto his platform to perform, and I love their performances on his show, because they perform with a live band mostly. So I love that he gives artists a platform and music. So I've been watching that, but I don't always watch him, and I want to watch him more, because he does talk politics, and he actually talks back at Trump, and Trump actually tried to cancel him, and he also had a dispute with, oh god, my mind isn't getting some of these names. Erica, what's the name of the widow? What's the name of the guy that recently just got shot and they made a martyr of him? Because I knew when he got shot, as soon as he got shot, I knew they were going to make a martyr of him. And I'd started to listen a bit more about him. I wanted to hear a bit more about him. What was the name of the guy? Let me ask this. See, my audience isn't interacting with me, so let me just ask. Oh my god. No. I might get the name wrong. Yeah. Let's think about it. Drewski recently did a comedy sketch on a wife whose husband recently passed away from a shooting. What was the name of the wife? Charlie Kirk. That's it. So Jimmy Kimmel, if I get his name right, the comedian, spoke about Charlie Kirk, right? Made a joke or something, and he got pulled up for it, right? And he was really upset because he was saying that what he was saying was out of context, right? But he's recently been pulled up again now. So let's see. Jimmy Kimmel has recently been pulled up for talking about a mayor. I think his name is Giovanni, who's recently been in hospital. But Jimmy made a made a joke that the mayor is a vampire. What's the name of the mayor? I'm laughing now because I've heard this. I've heard this. Rudy G. Was it Rudy G? What do you say? How do you say this man's name? Because I've heard this name a lot. And it literally sounds like a gangster name. Let's just have a look at this. How do you say this name? Look at this guy, Rudy. How do you say his name?
Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is out of the intensive care.
Former city mayor Rudy Giuliani. He's someone that I would like to know. Okay, he's a former mayor. Right, I would like to really know. Because I don't know if he's controversial. I don't know. Right. Jimmy Kimmel made a joke that he was a vampire. And then 2 days later, the man, or a few days later, the man went into hospital. Now, looking at the man does look like a vampire a little bit. He looks like something alright, right? And I'm sure I've heard controversial about him because I've heard his name a loads. But the reason why I'm laughing is because he also had to. Apparently, Jimmy Kimmel. Let me just find it and let you listen to it, because in case. So you don't got context of why I crack up sometimes, man, and why I want to be watching politics.
Everybody, welcome to E-Prime for this evening. I'm Daedran. Vibes.
Big up E-Prime, because it's E-Prime that talks about it. So when I find it, yeah, let's see if there's music in it. Because if there's music in it, that's where this whole thing, politics again. Let's see.
Back in the hot seat. This time it's because of a joke he made.
Go back.
Crystal skeleton. It's Kim Kardashian rose from the grave in a tweet about root duties alongside Nicole Kidman, Venus Williams, and Anna Wintour co-hosting the event. Kim Kardashian also turned heads in designs by Alan.
I want to hear that bit. Let's listen to this bit. If I could, I would put it in the thing. I'll put it in the thing, but I'll put the glimpse on the TV. But I ain't on that stage yet. This bit here.
Back in the hot seat. This time it's because of a.
So she basically says Jimmy Kimmel is back in the hot seat because he's always coming up, right?
Joke he made about Rudy Giuliani on his late night TV show. Last Tuesday, he said that Giuliani rose from the grave in a joke about the former New York mayor being a vampire. Then on Sunday, it was announced that Giuliani was hospitalized in critical condition due to a bout of pneumonia. Monday, Kimmel denied rumors of being psychic and said he hopes Giuliani lives another 100 years. This comes after Kimmel made a joke about Melania Trump being an expectant widow days before the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And that's it for this evening's edition of E-Prime.
So, yeah, imagine he had to deny being a psychic. He made a joke, but the thing is, you know what? They say there's a lot of truth in jokes. At the end of the day, that's anyway. I think what's there for me, I have to keep certain points to myself. But he made a joke. There's certain truth in jokes. I've got to keep my eye on Jimmy Kimmel because I need to hear more of what he's saying. Because I need to hear his jokes. Because not all of his jokes reach the headlines. But Trump doesn't like him. Trump tried to cancel him. What are they saying about this virus? Where's my remote? Where is my remote? I usually just have it here. So that whole thing about remotes in it. Oh, it's gone now. I wanted to know what they're saying, but we'll find out. Oh, it's coming up to 6:30. It shouldn't be too late to start cooking. I should have put it on from before. It isn't too late. Anyway, guys. Oh God, I've been in here for over an hour. Oh God, that was my nice little rant for myself, and I'm going to play it back to listen at some point.